4-0, so looking for the 5-0 start. At 6-0, the players should be in a very dominant spot to reach day 2. Looking at 6, perhaps 7 wins to make the cut.
Yep, great start for both players.
And it's going to be a Scoured Baron starting for Jeff Hoogland. So those of you not familiar, because we don't normally see Scoured Barons in the deck, he not playing an Esper Splash in his deck so that he can support cards like Blighted Fen. He actually plays multiple copies of the Life Gain Scoured Barons.
Puts him ahead on life right away, already winning the game.
Excellent. Play here going to be Seeker of the Way from Jeff. In the main deck, that's his only creature. Still 4 copies of it. Has not put any copies of Kalitas into the main. Does have 1 out of the board, however. Which will be very relevant in the rally matchup.
That is curious. Made room for 4 Grasp of Darkness, though.
Well, I think... So talking with Hoogland about it, one of the principles of his deck is that he is, more or less a mid-range kill spells deck that then tries to finish with Haymakers. He's always talking about trying to get the curve of his deck lower to the ground so he has potential to play multiple spells in a turn. Grasp of Darkness may be one of the best cards printed that could do that.
Certainly. This is probably the matchup that is going to hurt him in the most, though notably he's got a whole bunch of Hollowed Moonlight in the sideboard, a full 3 copies.
Wow, so he definitely acknowledges the matchup here. It's going to be a Jace from Jacob. For Jeff, he will grasp it into darkness and then attack with Seeker of the Way. So 3 life points going from Jacob's side to Jeff's. Jace in the graveyard.
25-10. Maybe Jeff should be playing Ailey the Eternal Pilgrim.
Yeah, he's already halfway there. Would only take 2 more hits from Seeker of the Way. That card would be a beating and a half if he ever got it online.
It would. Can sacrifice those Secure the Ways tokens.
Well, speaking of Ailey, that's Jacob's play. Does not have the land to go with it. But the Eternal Pilgrim's in play. A tenuous blocker at best for Seeker of the Way.
That's just not going to happen in any profitable fashion, right?
Well, it has Death Touch, so it can trade.
Yeah.
So he can make a trade, but questioning whether he wants to. And Jeff's not going to give him the chance. Utter End will take care of Ailey.
Notably, while Jacob is tapped out there, that's going to be the only opportunity to actually exile a creature with Utter End. Ailey can't sacrifice itself, but you're not going to be able to exile anything else.
So Seeker comes in again, 12-28. I think we might live the dream here. Jacob down to 10 post, and once no blocks, Hoogland will secure the wastes for 3. So Baugh down to 9, Hoogland up to 31.
Pretty much a fireball with upside.
An expensive Lightning Helix, but it makes some creatures. Land for Jacob, not going to come into play untapped, and that is too little. Game 1 going over to Hoogland.
Not messing around with any potential to draw this match. Clean 3 minutes for game 1.
Yeah, quick win there for Hoogland, and we'll go ahead and look over the sideboard. Baugh's deck not really cooperating with him here either.
No, certainly not. Maybe feeling the departure of those 2 Elvish Visionaries you shaved.
Elvish Visionary would have been good that game. You're not wrong. What about Palace Familiar? Also be fine.
Yeah.
A little delayed, but still would do the trick.
It would have just been Utter-Ended. Wouldn't have been able to draw a card.
Oh, wow. You're right. Would have been a big blowout. All right, we go over to Jeff Hoogland's side of the board. Now, you talked about the 3 Hallowed Moonlights in his board and the 1 Kalitas. To me, that feels like this was a steal for Hoogland, that he wasn't supposed to win game 1 based on the amount of sideboarding he has. And now that he does have game 1 in his pocket, he should be a pretty big favorite here.
Yeah, Jeff seems to be in great position here. There's a debate whether or not you actually want to rest in this matchup. I think it's fine. 2 copies isn't going overboard, so you're not going to get flooded with them. You do have the ability to control your draws with Read the Bones to some extent. Transgress the Mind's pretty weak. It's fine, but it never hits a reality, which is problematic.
Over on Baugh's side of the board, he's got some interaction here. He has 3 Duress, which could punch a hole in black-white control, as well as some slightly more resilient threats, cards like maybe another Liliana or perhaps his own copy of Kalitas, or even Felidar Cub. There are, Silk Reps and Stasis Snares in Jeff's deck.
Yeah, I like Cub quite a bit. Duress is pretty obviously coming in. Marauder's pretty bad here. The Liliana I do like. Murderous Cut's not going to do anything against this Seeker of the Way deck. Anafen's is a maybe. It's a 4/4. It does die to all these Grasp of Darkness, though.
Yeah, Grasp of Darkness is great here. And actually, it looks like Jeff has used that as a replacement for his Silk Wraps in the deck.
Oh, that's that works out anyway. Yeah, mostly we're just looking at duress though for Baugh.
Yeah, Dress should be carrying a lot. All right, well, Jeff Hoogland and Jacob Baugh, that's Black-White Control and 4-Color Rally, getting ready for Game 2. We're going to talk a second about Star City Games Game Night, now entering its 2nd year. This is a promotion that happens at stores near you. Find out which store is doing a StarCityGames.com Game Night. It's a fun, friendly event, giving away pins and foils each week. For the month of January, it is the Grizzly brand pin and token. That's the one we have on our jackets today. Next month is Magus of the Moo, everyone's favorite 2/3 Minotaur. It's kind of their ability, and there's the pin to show off. And if your store gets signed up, we can get you registered in time for March, and that will be the Grim Llama Mancer. You see there? That's a heck of a word to read.
Using the word very liberally.
Grim Llama Mancer. Has a lot of stuff going on. He's a 3/1 Elemental though, so it would work well with your Chandras. You can pick those up and learn more about them at StarCityGames.com/game night.
It's a very smug-looking llama.
He knows he knows
he knows the
cast
score.
by Chandra.
He knows the score. He's just gonna kill everything you play.
Well, he's the 3/2 haste, 3/1 haste Elemental. Let's see what else. He could also. I guess he could be an Akum Stonewaker token too.
He sure could.
Yeah, because we see that guy in standard sometimes too, right? Yeah, we could have that. We could have Rebellion of the Flamekin.
Sure could.
All right, that's what I got. That's what I got.
Your list is sounds exhaustive to me.
I think that's all of them.
Let's go ahead and move on.
Right. There can't possibly be another Magic card that makes 3/1s. Keep in mind, they're not Spark Elementals. They don't trample.
No.
They're just regular 3/1s with haste.
Secure the Waste would get right in their way.
Oh, that'd be real sad. You have to give him first strike. You could play Bloodmark Mentor.
You sure could.
Then Secure the Waste would be no problem. All right, we're underway. Game number 2 here. Players trading off land drops. We'll see if Jacob can bring a little more to the fight this time. He'll start on Jace again.
Already doing better than game 1.
Well, he had a turn 2 Jace game 1. It died, and then Jacob really didn't do anything. And it's Transgress the Mind from Hoogland.
Interesting. Could find a Collected Company. That's basically what we're looking for. Any of the 3-mana creatures are fine to take.
Yeah.
There's a Horror Spec, so we're going to go ahead and take that. We don't have any other options to just land in 2-mana spells. This is why I don't necessarily like the card in the matchup. Okay. It does end up being fine, but you're not finding anything super exciting here.
Yeah, so that's actually a Liliana. So he can take Liliana or Horror Specs. He obviously can't take Rally the Ancestors.
Right.
But it looks like it's going to be Horror Specs anyway.
And looks like we're actually going to have difficulty getting that Liliana into play on time, so the Horror Specs would be the only spell he could actually cast in the next turn.
Oh yeah, you're right. He does have another Sunken Hollow, but it's not going to come into play untapped right now. A loot here from Jace. Looks like more lands available. Maybe a Zulaport Cutthroat.
Cutthroat would be a fine draw here. There's going to be a lot more game going on if Jacob's actually going to win. So, thinking about Rally. That's interesting.
Discarding the Cutthroat. I didn't expect that here.
No.
All right. Well, he has Duress. Looks like he'll pick that. He'll fire that one off. We see Secure the Wastes, 2 Gideons, another Transgress the Mind.
Yeah, and given the way that Jacob's lands lined up, that second Transgress is doing well above average. The fact that you have to take that with Duress is huge here. If Jacob just had a black source for this turn, that card just wouldn't matter at all, but he actually has to Duress it here.
Yeah, he did have you're right. If he had the black mana, he could play the Liliana, Duress away a Gideon, and then just blank Transgress the Mind. 2 Gideons and a Secure. It is the 1-2 punch that Hoogland's deck wants to do.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be slow right now, though. Jacob gets some free turns.
Yeah, definitely have time. I've seen Jeff cast a lot of Secure the Wastes for 2. I'm kind of wondering if that's a line that he's going to take here. It's a card that I feel like I would wait on, more often than not. But definitely gets you some table presence. Following that up with Gideon applies reasonable pressure.
So I wonder if his game plan changes because he has 2 Gideons. So with 2 Gideons, he definitely has more freedom to make emblems. And if that's true, I would like to see a bigger Secure the Wastes.
Yeah. Well, there's also an argument, because you have the 2 Gideons and you're just going to be spending 2 turns casting them, secure now is the only opportunity to cast it unless you're willing to wait 3 turns.
Yeah, if you're not casting now, you're casting on turn 6, and that just, by then you'll have drawn 3 more cards. Maybe you may never get a chance other than now.
Right.
And here is the Liliana to join Jace.
Liliana, of course, pretty good against 1/1 tokens, but an ally plus one of these 1/1s will team up and be able to double block Liliana.
Yeah, so secure for 2 was made on the end step, and looks like we're going to have some Planeswalkers.
Yeah, so on his face, these 1/1s look pretty weak against Liliana, but because our follow-up is a Gideon, I actually like this quite a bit. Just throwing a 2/2 in front of a 2/3 is not doing a lot for you.
Yeah, and it's actually not without penalty that if the Gideon goes to 2, sometimes you don't care. But when you have a second Gideon in your hand, you actually really do care about that. The ability to go Gideon -4, play another Gideon is very powerful.
You can't use your second Gideon from an emblem.
Yeah. So here will be the ally of Zendikar, and he'll bring an ally with him. That's a 2/2 Knight. And he'll pass. So Jacob been allowed to keep a Jace in play for a few turns. That's normally a dangerous position for Rally's opponent.
Yes. And it's not nothing here, though Jeff clearly is advantaged on this board. Jacob has to find a number of things to really turn the corner here.
Baugh loots away a polluted Delta, flips the Jace. He can flash back a Duress if he wants to get that second Gideon, but it would be at cost. He would very likely lose his Jace.
We have our second white source for Rally, which is good.
Well, here's another Jace. That makes it easier, but now Jacob has a big decision. Can he risk second Gideon?
He knows it's there.
Yep. This is one of those pivotal decisions of the game for him.
So what he's probably thinking about, you can -3 and duress the second Gideon, though you have to wonder how impactful just making an emblem with this first Gideon is.
So there we go. Duress is fired off. It's Gideon, Murderous Cut. It's got one more as well.
Yeah, that was an easy pick there.
Gideon is the one. Utter end of the draw for Hoogland.
Jeff's got some options here.
Utter end was a good draw.
It was. The safe play here is just making a 2/2 with the Gideon. It's probably not reasonable to make an emblem.
Yeah, not just yet.
Attacking is an option, though.
So here's Utter End. He'll take care of Liliana. He wants to keep Jacob's Planeswalker count low.
I like that.
Yeah, with just 2 Jaces, you can, in the battle of Gideon versus Jace, Gideon usually can win that one.
Yes. The Mind Mage is no match for the Muscle Mage.
All right, here come the creatures. It's Gideon, Knight Ally, and both soldiers. We'll see where everyone's going. He could play Gideon at Jacob and everyone else at Jace. We'll get a final damage report here.
Jace down.
Looks like Jacob took 6 on that attack, so the Gideon for sure. And one of the soldiers managed to get in.
Yep, really nothing that Jacob has going on to inhibit any of that from happening.
All right, a loot here from Jace. We'll flip it. And Jacob has, he's been looting for a while, has Rally in his hand, but then when you look at his graveyard, that part just hasn't come together yet.
Yeah, the looting is good if we're discarding creatures that matter to rally back. We are discarding lands that we have drawn too many of.
Yeah, 5 in play, and it looks like another 3 in the yard. Jacob's going to plus. It'll shrink down that ally token. And here is Rally. Looks like just Rally for 2. We'll get back Jace and 2 Zulaport Cutthroats. That is a weak rally.
Yeah, this is just finding some blockers. He's trying to stem the bleeding to buy some time. Interestingly, if Jeff just doesn't attack here, those cutthroats are going to get exiled.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, Jake. It's tough, right? Because Jacob's behind, and things really haven't worked out his way. So I understand feeling like you have to do something, and I'm not sure that not casting Rally there wins, but casting Rally there seems to take away all his possible outs. If Jeff does nothing and everything exiles, then I feel like nothing's happening. You know?
And that's exactly what happened here is Jeff just didn't attack.
Yeah, made an ally pass. So upkeep Jacob will flip his other Jace. No, actually, sorry, he won't flip it. There's only 4 cards in the yard.
Is it just 4?
It's just 4. All the creatures are gone, so it didn't flip.
Okay.
So Jacob's rally did nothing but loot him one. It exiled his whole graveyard. And yeah, that's going to leave him without any play. So 2-0, Jeff Hoogland takes the match.
Yeah, in short order.
A uncooperative draw from Rally there, to be sure. One that Jeff's draw seemed beatable. I think with a good Rally start, with more reasonable draws, I think Jacob's a favorite in that game.
Yeah, the way that the draws lined up, Jacob's deck is full of 2/3 creatures, and yet he was just getting crushed by a 2/2 and a couple of 1/1s. Just getting flooded by all those lands. There's just no options that he had.
So for the 3rd time on camera today, we've seen 4-color Rally be defeated here. And what are your feelings on this? Is this a sign of things to come? Going to this tournament, I think everyone would agree that Rally was the deck with a target on it.